Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel Cakes by MK. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this epic chocolate ball cake. So my husband and I were watching the hot chocolate ball trend which is going on at the moment, and he gave me the brilliant idea of trying out a chocolate ball cake. So we came up with this concept together and I'm absolutely in love with it now, and I can't wait to show you guys how I construct it and also how to make a beautiful chocolate ganache which goes alongside it. If you're new to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you're updated whenever I upload a new video. Apart from that, stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So the first step is to melt some dark chocolate. So what I've got here is I've got some 50% dark chocolate, and I'm simply going to gently melt that over a double boiler. Now if you're not quite sure what a double boiler is, it's simply just a method to gently melt chocolate so that it doesn't burn. So what I've got here is I've just got a small saucepan with some water in it. I'm going to bring that water to a simmer, and the steam that comes out from the water is what's going to gently melt my chocolate that I've got in my bowl, which is going to go on top of my saucepan. Now once the chocolate is nicely melted, I'm going to take it off the heat and then we're going to start putting it into a mold. So what I've got here is I've got a silicone mold and it's half spheres, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop about 2 tablespoons of melted chocolate into each half sphere, and then I'm going to use the back of a spoon just to coat the entire mold. So I'm just gently pushing the chocolate up against the sides using my spoon. And you want to make sure that you get it right to the top. And then once I've got it all up the sides, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tip my mold over and shake out any of that excess chocolate. Now once that's done, the last thing to do is to get an offset spatula or anything that's kind of nice and flat, and I'm going to scrape the tops off so that the tops are nice and smooth. Now once the tops are nice and smooth, I'm going to pop this into the fridge for about 20 minutes and then we're going to come back and do a second coat. So once the chocolate has firmed up, we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to drop some chocolate into the mold and I'm going to spread it around with the back of a spoon. Now, the reason why we do this is because only one coat is going to be too thin. So when we come to taking out our chocolate, it's more likely to break. But if we do a second coat, it's going to make it a little bit thicker and a lot stronger. And then I'm just shaking off that excess chocolate. And then I'm just gently scraping the tops. And now I'm going to pop this back into the fridge for about another 20 minutes or so. And then I'm going to come back and start taking the spheres out of their mold. So my chocolate is nice and firm now, so I'm going to start slowly removing the half spheres from my mold. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to flip my mold over, and then I'm just going to slowly start lifting it up from the corners. And you should be left with a nice shiny half sphere like that. Okay, so now that I've got all of my chocolate out of my mold, we're now ready to start making our spheres. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in half of my chocolate molds. Now you can fill these in with whichever kind of cake flavor you like, and any extra kind of toppings and fillings and icings. But what I'm going to be using today is I'm going to be using some freeze-dried fruit, some vanilla cake, and I'm going to be piping some vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream in it as well. And then to seal the top of my mold, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my half spheres and I'm going to just gently warm the edge up on my pan that I've got here, which I have got lightly heated, and it's going to just melt slightly, and then I'm going to get that and then pop that on top of one of my filled half spheres here, and the chocolate that's just slightly melted on the edge is what's going to help stick two of the molds together. So I have got 3 of my spheres all done now, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing and make 11 more of these spheres, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to start stacking this cake. So I've made all of my chocolate balls, which I'm going to stack into a pyramid, and then I've also got a whole bunch of things here which I'm going to use to finish off decorating. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I've got some chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream here, and I'm going to pipe a little bit right in the center of my cake board, and I'm going to place my first chocolate ball right in the center, and then I'm going to use that as my guide to start stacking the rest of my chocolate balls around it. Now for the rest of the ones on the bottom, I'm piping the Swiss meringue buttercream onto the bottom and then putting that onto my cake board. So now that I've got my first layer on, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pipe a rim of buttercream right around the border of this first layer. And what that's going to do is that's going to help keep all of the balls nicely stuck together in the middle. I'm also piping a bit of the buttercream on the inside. So I have piped some buttercream around the bottom of my first layer, and now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to decorate the bottom first before I finish the top. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop some of my freeze-dried raspberries, boysenberries, brownies, and some chocolate kisses that I've got all around the bottom of the cake. So I have finished decorating the bottom of my cake. Now my buttercream has gone a little bit soft because it's really hot in the studio at the moment. So I'm just going to pop this into the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes to allow the buttercream to become nice and firm. And then I'm going to stack the rest of my chocolate balls on top. So my buttercream is really nice and firm now and everything's stuck into place, and now I'm ready to put the remaining balls on top of my first layer. Now it's really important to make sure that you do put enough buttercream around the edges and that it does get nice and firm in the fridge, because this will help ensure that your balls all stay in the same place. And I'm going to go ahead and put the remaining balls on the top. Okay, so my chocolate balls are all nicely stacked, and now I'm going to finish off with some gold leaf and a bit of gold luster dust. And that is it. So my chocolate ball cake is all done. Now the cake element to this dessert is done, but there is still the chocolate ganache which we need to make, which is what we're going to use to pour over the chocolate ball, and then it's going to melt and open up into a beautiful dessert. So I'm going to show you guys now how to make that hot chocolate ganache. So to make the chocolate ganache, which we're going to be using to pour over our chocolate balls, it's really easy. All it is equal parts chocolate to heavy cream, so dark chocolate to heavy cream. So what I've got here is I've got 50% dark chocolate, which was the leftover chocolate from the chocolate balls that I made, which is why it looks a little bit funny because it's been sitting in the fridge. And then I've got some heavy cream here. So in this case, I've got 250 grams of dark chocolate, and then I've got 250 mils of heavy cream. So all I'm going to do is I'm simply going to pour my heavy cream over my chocolate and then pop it into the microwave. Now I'm going to pop it into the microwave for 20-second bursts, making sure that I mix in between each burst so that it melts all evenly and it doesn't burn, and then I'll be back once my chocolate is all melted. So my chocolate and heavy cream are nicely melted together now, and I'm left with this beautiful, silky, smooth chocolate ganache. And now I'm going to show you guys how to serve up this epic chocolate ball cake. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to make this chocolate ball cake. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks again for watching Cakes by MK.